All right, folks. You guys are having a good night. I know I am. Coming to you from the future again with a couple of predictions for 2021 before we get into the games for the evening. Well, those are coming off my head. Let's put them on so they're not going to pop quite off my head. I got a hearing aid, so they don't want to sit on there very good anymore. Okay. So here's your predictions for 2021. I'll leave the spooky music going here for a little bit. These are the 5 big ones. Like, obviously, you can make more predictions. A lot of these I came up with a couple weeks ago and just didn't really talk about them. Now's a good time to do it before they start coming true. Right? Okay, so prediction number 1 is Donald Trump will be prosecuted for something. And if he's wise, he will leave the country. So this one is... Obviously, he's not going to be president tomorrow. The Boomer Q people are probably going to be in for a rude awakening. Nothing says like mandate from the masses like 30,000 armed troops. Except I think they took away their ammo because they don't trust them. Fun little things. They're all sitting around there with empty guns. Maybe they have bayonets. Maybe they can poke people if something goes down. Anyway, so yeah, Donald Trump will be prosecuted. I don't know what he'll be prosecuted for, and likely the people who are going to be prosecuting him also don't know what he will be prosecuted for. So, but he'll be prosecuted for something, and the reason for this is this hasn't happened politically before. You notice Trump didn't jail Hillary. He didn't jail his political opponents. No president really has. In fact, it's been tradition to basically pardon the outgoing president to kind of get rid of them. They're gone. Make sure that the people who really like them are not really holding over any anger. But I think the party at this point has been telling themselves the same story for so long. They're inhabiting a reality. They're inhabiting a story world where they really need to punish their enemies, where that's a really, really strong psychic need, and they're not going to act rational about that. They have a huge constituency they built up, not a huge one. They have a small constituency they built up that they think is very real and powerful, that really wants them to, really thinks that they're dealing with a war criminal and they need to punish him. So he will be prosecuted for something. And if he's wise, he will be out of the country before that can happen. In fact, if I were Donald Trump, I would already be out of the country now. I would not be hanging around for the inauguration because my expectation would be that they would move quickly to freeze my assets, and I want to have my assets protected and put into other places as quickly as possible. So anyway, that's number 1. A bunch of the soldiers failed the loyalty test, apparently. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to that. So that's number 1. Donald Trump will be prosecuted for something. If he's wise, he'll leave the country. This is a break from tradition in U.S. politics that has not punished the losers using the force of the state. But I believe that has changed because of the nature of what happened in November, because of the nature of everything that's going on, and basically because there's a belief that the Democrat Party no longer needs consent or support from any other part of the country to enact their will, and that they are doing correct things. They're basically engaging in cult behavior, and so that's what you're going to see following that up. Now, it may be he's out of the country, maybe it doesn't come to anything, but I think that's going to happen. Okay, multiple levels that can try to make that happen, from the local all the way up to the federal. So that's probably what you're going to see. Number 2, Joe Biden will not be president by 2022. So maybe he'll make it to 2022. I would say there's a couple of different outcomes for good old senile Joe. Number 1 is he somehow makes it to midterms to help his party campaign. But I think the powers that be are going to look at that, and the party's going to know he's not a very good campaigner. That's why they kept him in the basement for the entire campaign, and miraculously he got more votes than any other person in the history of the Republic, including the ultra-popular Barack Obama and the ultra-popular Donald Trump. So, yeah, I think he's probably going to be out before the midterms. So that's one possibility. He's definitely not going to make it to 4 years. He'll resign or be removed from office before then for senility. The question is whether he'll make it 1 year or not. He'll probably at least give him 6 months or 100 days. I think is pretty reasonable. And at that point, you're going to see the media narrative shift. So the first thing that's going to happen is everything's going to be pro Joe. Joe's the savior of the world, and they're going to paint every event that happens as some positive turn of what's going on. So, say like lockdowns because of the virus, right? It's going to be there's finally someone in office who's tackling this head on. That he brought the vaccine. The lockdowns fixed everything. Everybody's good, and so Joe saved it without any kind of critical thing. They don't even bother to try to convince you that there was anything in the past that was different from what they're saying now. That's been that way for about 3.5 years at this point. There's no point to even talking about any kind of fact from the past. You write down the fact that you want it to be now, and that's what it's going to be. So they're going to really promote Joe for 100 days to make people feel like this was the correct person. Then the media is going to turn on him, and you're going to see a bunch of stories start to pop up about, is Joe Biden really, is he too old for the job? Is he actually getting senile? Kamala Harris is actually doing the whole job, so maybe she should be president, and then he'll resign. My guess is he'll actually resign. He'll resign somewhat into it and say, like, I wanted to lead my party to victory and put my party back in power, and this is really a younger person's job, and I've set things on the correct course, and I feel happy with everything I've done as vice president and president. It's time to step aside and let the younger generation do it. That's probably what I will expect him to do. Some people are like, oh, well, they're going to, get him marked as mentally ill or senile and remove him. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Joe is a pretty easygoing guy as far as working with the party. He pretty much does what the party says. He's done that for a long time now. He's been a party player as far as things go, and that's how he's kind of made it to the top, is by just going with what the party needs in a given moment. So he'll resign probably 1 year in, or maybe a little bit less than a year in. So my guess would be highest probability is going to be about a year. So New Year 2022, Joe Biden's out, and he will have the first black female president in history, never elected. So that is, and actually the least popular Democratic candidate of the primaries. It's going to be very interesting how they pulled that one, but that's what's going to happen. And I think most of us expect that. Joe is very old. You can see it in his face. He doesn't have the energy to do this. He doesn't have the energy of a Donald Trump, who's also old, or Donald Trump is 74 at this point. And he certainly doesn't, he doesn't have the energy of a Ronald Reagan or Donald Trump. It certainly doesn't have the energy of a Barack Obama or a Bill Clinton, somebody who's actually younger, in their 50s, who still has a lot of energy and a keen intellect to do the job of trying to manage a massive bureaucracy called the United States government. So he'll be out by 2022. And I think that's the plan. Most of us, I think, are aware of that. Number 3, Bitcoin will be outlawed through an anti-terrorism act because right-wing extremists use it. So Bitcoin will be outlawed or practically outlawed. They will put so many conditions on utilizing Bitcoin that you actually won't be able to use it for most things, which is going to crash the price. And look for that move to coincide with similar moves from China and some other world powers, maybe even Russia. Russia might buck the trend because they've always been the maverick on the world stage, at least for like the last 100 years. And certainly for the last 20. But you may see a lot of governments that are third world governments start to want to use Bitcoin as some sort of alternative currency because it holds its value. Now, why would they set their sights on Bitcoin? Well, the official narrative would be right-wing extremists use it economically. It's their unit of trade, right? Like all these right-wingers, they're the ones buying Bitcoin. They're the ones selling Bitcoin. They're selling illegal services. They're hiring out their assassination services on the Onion network using Bitcoin. It's going to be something like that. So they will outlaw Bitcoin. How is that practical? Well, people forget that the U.S. government outlawed the ownership of gold for like 60 years, meaning basically if you were picked up for anything, like if the police ever entered your home and they found gold bullion, you'd go to a federal penitentiary. You weren't allowed to own gold. When they outlawed gold, you were required by law, by fiat, to sell it to the U.S. Treasury, I think at $35 an ounce. Now, why did they do that? That's because in the 1930s, we went off the gold standard. Now, you might read history textbooks that say we went off the gold standard in the 1970s. Those are false. We actually went off the gold standard when gold became illegal to own, because gold no longer would be able to be traded for US dollars. It would have been a free-floating currency because of all the currency manipulation that happened in the early 30s in particular, where they collapsed the world money supply. The Fed did that. And then following up, a massive inflation going all the way up to today, where the dollar's lost 90% of its value. So once they were able to take physical gold away from people, then they could, by fiat, change the quantity of money or do whatever policies they wanted to change the velocity of money anytime they wanted, and the price of gold relative to anything else just didn't matter. It just freed you from having a standard at all. So you may look at that. You may be required to sell your Bitcoin to the government or exchange it for some other cryptocurrency that the government's able to better track. And is basically that eliminates a lot of the positive things of Bitcoin, mainly that you are able to do a lot more anonymous transactions with Bitcoin, things like that. So look for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to be the target. I would expect it to be in an anti-terrorism act. It'll be lumped in it because all of you right-wing extremists that have Bitcoin, you like to use Bitcoin. Therefore, we should take it away. All they have to do is say that it is illegal for anyone to accept Bitcoin in trade for goods and services. It's illegal to own Bitcoin, which means if the government ever happens to do any kind of digital raid on you, if you have a Coinbase account, I have a Coinbase account, if you have a Coinbase account somewhere or a wallet somewhere linked, then they know where to find you and they know what to do with it. They know that you have to turn over your Bitcoin or exchange it for their new whatever garbage coin that they may come out with to try to placate people and be like, no, we're coming out with a currency that it's better because we can track it with serial numbers on real currency. We have to stop crime, and organized crime is using Bitcoin and right-wing extremists are using Bitcoin. So it'll be something like that. And for practical purposes, you won't be able to use Bitcoin, or you'll have to use it in such an underground manner that most of the value of it will be demolished. Most of the value from Bitcoin that you see trading, like trading it for the dollar, just comes from speculation. It's not that's not part of its quality as a currency, is its high trading value. That has to do with speculation. Its quality as currency really has to do with it's infinitely divisible, and you can't just make more Bitcoin. It requires energy to mine out Bitcoins, and more energy required to mine more and more Bitcoins. Anyway, so yeah, that's a big one. I know that I'm swinging for the fences there. People are like, oh, they can try. Well, they'll be successful. They'll be successful enough in tracking people down who have Bitcoin that basically nobody's going to be able to own it. Number 4, the internet will become significantly less free. The idea of this free open internet where we're able to have this conversation right now on YouTube that is somehow getting through, that is going to be over. And it's going to be over in a lot of ways that I think people are not quite aware of. So it's going to be there's going to be an anti-right-wing terrorist act. So they're going to identify some large portion of the United States as terrorists, and they're going to put through basically Patriot Act 2.0. And part of that is going to give the government control, basically just like with the Patriot Act, where they could secretly ask somebody for a bunch of things that they would normally need a search warrant for. They'll just put it into law that the federal government can ask for the user information for any registered user on any site, as long as the domain is accessible inside the United States. So it's basically going to be a swing for the fences kind of thing. And what that means is basically that you'll be much better able to be targeted by cartels and stuff in general, because you won't be able to rely on any kind of site to keep your information secure. It's all going to be offered up to the government basically at any time that they want it to be offered up. That's a big one, and it's one that people ought to worry about. The other one is that there is a strong cartel between SOCNET and SOCNET's allies in the banking sector. So the banking sector and SOCNET, which SOCNET is Twitter, YouTube, Google, Facebook, that's SOCNET. So the big media networks, let's say. There's a media cartel, and they are quite happy to take your information and hand it off to the banking cartel and say, make sure this person can't engage in any kind of banking activity. And you may see the federal government getting involved with that, where they are able to extract that information and hand it off to the banks and have all your assets frozen whenever you utilize hate speech. Because if you're utilizing hate speech, now you're a suspected right-wing terrorist. And of course, hate speech is going to be up to them to determine what it is. And they'll be able to do it for a while. It might be challenged constitutionally, but I don't have confidence in the Supreme Court to push back on that at all, nor do I have confidence in people, damaged parties, being able to bring suits far enough up to the Supreme Court in a timely manner that most of us won't be suffering horribly under this anti-right-wing terrorism act that's coming in 2021 from doing significant harm to us. So it could be that, the government can grab your user info whenever they want, hand it over to the banks, and then you can't do any banking, or go contact your bank and freeze your assets. And that's all going to be things that you can expect to see happen to people. Like, I could totally see Andrew Torba having his house raided, having all of his assets frozen, having liens put on his house, all kinds of obsequious things happen to him because he happens to run Gab. He'll probably be the first and maybe most prominent martyr, but it'll also be people like Alex Jones and stuff like that. Number 5, there will be at least one new war by 2022. They've been chomping at the bit to have wars for 4 years. That industry is very powerful. The lobby in Washington is very powerful. There will be at least one new war by 2022. At the very least, Biden is going to bomb the shit out of some third world country because there's somebody there who's bad. The real question, and this was a question on Twitter, is like, is it going to be Africa? Is it going to be another Middle Eastern country, or is it going to be South America? Where in the world are they going to bomb somebody back to the Stone Age, presumably for retribution of some bad guy? I don't know yet, and it could be anything, and it could be anything that's cooked up. People are like, there's going to be a false flag tomorrow. There's going to be this, that. They're going to try to cook up this thing. They're operating as if they don't need any kind of conservative support to do what they want. And in fact, consent and support from the conservatives is not something they care about. They think they don't need it, and they're fully morally justified in not seeking it out, which means they're not going to they're not going to bother with things like trying to frame some kind of act. They're going to frame whatever act as terrorism using the media and just go do whatever they want. They could bomb South Africa next week, and the media would write many glowing reports about how it was totally justified that South Africa was a country that needed to be bombed back into the Stone Age by the United States. So expect that. That's probably the easiest one to predict. Everyone's like, yeah, that's it. That's an easy one. They're not even swinging for the fences by saying new war. They've been trying to have new war for 4 years so badly. As soon as you end one war, you have to begin the next one. So those are my 5 big predictions for 2021. It's now midnight, which means it's time to play some games. I'll check out the chat as we're playing the games, and I hope you guys are going to have a great night. But take heart, because one of the things about putting 30,000 troops into Washington, D.C., and then freaking out and believing that there's going to be troops in there that are going to try to assassinate you, or they're not loyal to the U.S. government, means that there really is, they'll start a war, but they really won't be able to finish it. We just are not going to have the capacity and the will to do it. They're going to wake up to that pretty quick, but it's going to be a rough year, I think. I think 2021 is going to be way rougher than 2020 as far as most of these things go, and just expect a lot of craziness. I don't believe the U.S. will attack Turkey. So I don't believe it'll be Turkey. I believe because of the nature of the way these guys view war, it's probably going to be some other country. It could be any country in Africa, because Africa's full of countries that are constantly war torn and therefore need some sort of intervention. The intervention being, U.S. occupation. And I could see China getting involved in Africa too. It's kind of we'll do this, you do that kind of thing. Like, we'll do this country, you do that country. And it'll be framed as like China and the United States are working together for world peace, when really it's like neo-imperialism 21st century edition. Anyway, can't have or earn money if they can't go war profiteering. Another reason why Bitcoin is the enemy, because Bitcoin is harder to tax. And right now things are set up so they can tax, even if they can't get you to pay income tax, they can just tax the value of your money by printing more of it. So that's basically what I expect for that. All right, where are we going next? We're going to life in, I think. I think if there's a war, it's going to involve India, China, and Taiwan. I would bet it's actually not going to do that. As I'm thinking about it, just because the leaders themselves would actually be at risk. Anytime the leaders themselves are at risk, they don't do it. So if there's a risk of like nuclear war, it's not going to happen. So like India and Pakistan, probably not going to happen. India and China, probably not going to happen. Taiwan and China, maybe. It could be a hostile takeover of Taiwan. China has made it clear that they want to do that. So, could be that. But I think that's going to be sideways. I think we're just going to see another third world country get bombed. Remember, we've been doing that basically since like Reagan. You could say we've been doing it since like Eisenhower. Eisenhower's the first one to send troops to Vietnam. So I think this is life in here, but you have to really land like super far away, like way up here. I don't even know where can you land in the water? No. Sorry. Can you land in the swamp? I don't remember how you get here. Maybe you have to land on this tip here? I don't remember. Can't land in the forest. Anyways, those are my predictions. Oh no, not an EU country. If we bomb the crap out of them, they'll send us a very disappointed, strongly worded letter. You don't want to bomb them because they're part of the war industry. They'll probably get involved too, because their war industry needs to make a couple things too. It's all about making the bombs. That's like where the money is, I think. Yeah. So anywhere I can land here. Answer is no. And do you think they'd make it like a very clear... maybe this is it. That's it. All right, here we go. That's it. We got to land here. Anyway, so those are my predictions. Now we'll play... now we'll play the game. Zombull. He's a Zombull. He's a zombie bull. I think the trolls just die immediately. Let's hit him with the mage staff. Right by the mountains. The army just straight up disobeyed Trump. It's like, you need to withdraw these troops. They're like, all right, we'll do that. And then they like secretly kept operatives on board. They're like, yeah, we just did things and didn't tell the president. That's a big problem. And it signals that, just because you put an elected person in office doesn't mean they change anything about government or even have the power to. I think that's one of the lessons of Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump doesn't realize that he's going to be prosecuted as well. I think he's operating under the assumption that he's playing against rational players when he's not. When he's playing against a crazy death cult that actually will not think rationally at all and thinks that it's their opportunity to put for Nuremberg trials for Trump. For his horrible, and I see them say things like this. I saw this thing on, I'll bring it up on Brian Niemeyer's blog. Hold on, I have this bookmark somewhere. There it is. Okay. Here it is. I'll link this one. No Titanic ticket for traders. Basically, the publishing industry is telling people, hey, if you worked for Donald Trump, then you don't get your book published with us. I'm going to read this part. Let's see here. No participant in an administration that caged children, performed involuntary surgeries on captive women, and scoffed at science as millions were infected with a deadly virus should be enriched by the almost rote largesse of a big book deal. And no one who incited, suborned, instigated, or otherwise supported the January 6, 2021 coup attempt should have their philosophies remunerated and disseminated through our beloved publishing houses. So they're living in a fantasy world. Like, that's a proclamation of a reality which does not exist. So they have literally created I shouldn't say literally. They have, in terms of their perception, they have created a world that they live in, which doesn't exist. They get their mail there, you know? It's like if somebody plays World of Warcraft like 12 hours a day. I don't know, you might have met somebody. Like anybody that ground out like High Warlord for real. World of Warcraft is more real than real life. Real life is a place you have to go to get like Taco Bell. And so you can keep playing World of Warcraft. That's like what they are living in. All right, we should be able to talk to these guys now. We are the Life-inish. Only our bravest became Sky Warriors. Your airship was theirs. All right, these guys you couldn't talk to before. I didn't do this on stream. You have to go take see your face upon the clean water. You have to take the slab to a sage, and then he teaches you this language. At the time of destruction, a legend was born. In 400 years, warriors with orbs will appear to save our people. Are you them? Yes, I am them. Oh, the light warriors, the legend is true. Now, someone's going to give you a cube or something. The floating castle, our ancestors lived there. The Mirage Tower is the entrance. You know, let me see how this is arranged. I could probably put chat in here somewhere. Here, watch. Let me put the chat here. That might be cool. Boom. Just like that. There's chat. Oh, no, it doesn't work. I'd have to rearrange this window. Oh, that's not going to work. I have to set something else up. Weird. Yeah, unity and healing. Come on, they weren't going to do that. All the Democrats like were throwing people under the bus for even suggesting that. Like, no, this is our chance to punish and flog our enemies, to send a message that they can never rise, and that we will always be victorious, and that they should never ever try to be another Donald Trump. No outsider should ever come into Washington again. That's why we're going to prosecute Donald Trump, to make an example of him. Same reason that you hang deserters. You don't hang them for the horrible crime of desertion. You hang them so nobody else will desert. We fought with Tiamat, but were unsuccessful. The fiend now inhabits our floating castle. Oh. Our last 5 warriors left to find the cause of the world's decay, but we know they live, but as bats. Rad. I've turned into a bat. The power of the wind was taken by Tiamat. This is, I think, yeah, you get Tiamat in a bunch of the different games. With this chime, you can enter the Mirage Tower. Sweet. Alright, so now we can go into the tower. We know that a great power controlled the fiends. Our 5 bravest warriors left, never to return. Oh, we have to get a cube from a waterfall. And I don't remember how you get that information. Because it's actually not that easy to find the information where you're supposed to do in this game. You said China will possibly do a hostile takeover of Taiwan. But I don't think the other Asian countries will allow that. China's already hated by their neighbors. That's a good counterpoint. I think it's a possibility. I don't think it's probable. They like to bluster about that. Life 2. See, this raises you with more life. But we should really teach it, yeah, we should teach it to Larry. We should really teach life to one of these other guys. And we'll teach it to Larry. Alright. I don't know if I bought it, actually. Can Odin learn nuke? I don't think he could do nuke. Watch. Sorry, you can't learn that. Yeah, I think only black mages can do nuke. Alright. I wonder if you can... I don't think you can forget magic. Because I got... I needed to get heal 2 here. Heal 2 actually does heal 3 in combat. So I'm wondering if I could, like, lose one of these. I don't think I can. I think I'm kind of screwed. I don't know if there's anyone over here who tells you about the cube. Probably not. The leftists want to unite and heal with everyone who agrees with them only. Yeah. Unite and heal. What they want to do is, like, have an end of the Return of the Jedi celebration about how they threw Darth Sidious into an abyss by tweeting at him and voting. You know, that's how they view him. They view him as Hitler, and like, we defeated him by voting. And it's like, and also we had all of our dead relatives vote. And also we just put a bunch of ballots that were just marked with Joe into a machine. We also hacked the machines properly. We had more people vote in this district than have lived here in the last 100 years. Until 400 years ago, we controlled the power of the wind. This enabled us to suspend the castle in the air. I think he tells you about the cube. 400 years ago, we had an advanced civilization. Our interest was the universe. But Tiamat's stolen. How many hours do you have in this current playthrough? I have no idea. It's more than it would be if I had just played, because I'm talking to everyone while I do this, so it's slower. We have passed on the legends from the generation to generation, but 400 years have caused our memories to fade. You know, you could do this way faster if you know what you're doing. World record's like 3 hours. The floating castle floats high in the sky, seemingly among the stars. I know that you have to get a cube somewhere. I wonder if the robots made by our ancestors are still moving. Oh, good question. I think lightning is good against the robots. If you know what to do, this is a relatively short game. It's the wandering around thing, trying to figure out the one person that tells you what to do that makes it seem longer. Yeah, and it's built that way. You know, it's really built so that you're supposed to just kind of explore around a lot. And that's basically what helps your characters get strong enough to actually progress. If you aren't doing that, then you hit some pretty rough spots, because you will end up in a couple places where, like, you're just not strong enough and you have to grind. But if you were doing this normally, you'd be doing a lot of exploration and probably wouldn't have to grind a lot. Trump being kicked out isn't Palpatine dying and the Death Star 2 blowing up in Episode 6. It's Chancellor Valorum being voted out and replaced in Episode 1. Yeah, we know that. But they feel like there's never been anybody worse alive than Trump. He's the worst person to ever live, and they just, you know, they need to publicly flog him in order to prove that they, you know, that they are the victors. So yeah, look for some kind of charges, trumped up charges to be filed on Trump. Any games that you're excitedly anticipating? Final Fantasy 16, for sure. The hype's real. I mean, the hype's real. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's a PS5 exclusive. And I'm like, man, that's literally the only game I give a shit about owning on the PS5 is Final Fantasy 6. Everything else, it's like, there's a huge... I have a bunch of games for the PlayStation 4 I haven't even really played that are great. At least I could play those games on the PS5 too, and they'll look a little bit better, I guess. But, you know, it's most of the AAA games coming out are the same garbage that every game, it's like the mono genre. It's the mono game. You're going to wander around the open world and maybe kill some guys, and there'll be some cool animations, but, you know, there's no gameplay loop that you think is really good. I would love Final Fantasy Tactics to come back. Give me another tactical RPG. It's like they came out with Dragon Age Origins, and it was so awesome. And then they're like, you know what we should do is we should just get rid of the strategic gameplay. Nobody likes strategy. Let's replace it with, you know, really fancy animations and gathering from an MMO, because that's what people want, right? They want to gather resource. They want to click on mining veins like in World of Warcraft. And they also want to see cool animations. They don't want to have to stop and think about a strategic encounter. It's like, God, man, Dragon Age Origins was so much better than all of its sequels. And I'm gonna say this: Dragon Age 2 was better than Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm just going to say it. Oh yes, voting out the dictator. That's how that works. Yeah, I tweeted horrible things at him nonstop, and was permitted to do so. And then we voted him out of office, and that's how we defeated the evil Lord Trump. Also, we stuffed the ballot boxes in like a couple key counties that we controlled. That helped. Great grandma helped me vote him out. Even though she died of the Spanish flu 100 years ago. It's all graphics and systems and loots. I hated Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age I was fun. Inquisition, if I was playing like an MMO and ignoring the horrible story. Yeah, the story was bad. I mean, Dragon Age 2 didn't really have a good story either. Look at this cool dino. Man, they drew this dino with 3 colors. If you look, it's black, because that's the background, right? But it's also making these red, and then like a lighter red and a light orange. And you see it's the same color red here, so it's kind of cool. Yeah, let's fight that. We'll Zeus him. If we could vote out dictators, the world wouldn't have dictators in the first place. Dragon Age 2 had like good world building stuff in it. And people were like, yeah, the game should have ended at the halfway point where you fight the Kunari. And it's like, yeah, I could totally see that. Yeah, I could agree with that. Heal 3. I don't need to use that. Just fight him. I hated the little mission map thing in Dragon Age Inquisition, just like I hated it in WoW. And in Dragon Age Inquisition, I'm like, why are you making me click on like resource nodes in a, you know, in a single player game? This is not. Oh, can you not land on sand? Okay, you can only land on grass. Let's find some grass. We have to land right here probably and hike in. Let's see if there's a closer one. I think you can land right here and then hike in. Let's see if there's a really close one though. I don't think there is. I do like how you can't get hit by monsters. I think this is the closest one. Yeah. There it is. We'll have to fight one set of monsters. Dragon Age 2 had worse tactics than Dragon Age Origins. Yeah, I mean, it got the power trip of developing your character really well. Dragon Age Inquisition was Michael Bay producing Lord of the Rings. Dragon Age 2 had better characters than Dragon Age Inquisition. Yeah, I didn't like any of the characters, and a lot of them were straight up ugly. It was like the ugly character game. That's when I noticed that there was a extreme tendency to have ugly characters. Let's see if there's, I think Ice 3. Nothing. Oh, because I don't have any charges. I have to get higher level. All right, Ice 2. And Zeus. Man, these guys hit hard. Oh my gosh. Hey, my great-grandfather Obadiah voted for Biden. Other than fighting a wounded knee, that's his greatest achievement. I'm really proud that my grandfather, who died in March of last year, finally got to make a difference in a U.S. election and vote for Biden. You guys laugh, but like Lyndon Baines Johnson actually did that. He actually had dead people voting for him from the grave. Have you heard the news that some of the government officials of the other countries have quit? Yes, it hasn't been a big thing that people have noticed, but yeah, there's been a bunch of resignations all over the world. It's crazy. Oh yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda had some ugly ass characters, and on purpose, I remember. But it really started with Dragon Age Inquisitions. Yeah, remember that ugly elf character? Oh my god! And she had a terrible personality too. You just like, man. I have to heal this. Secure 3, Bert. Don't die on me, Bert. Oops. Let's pull my soda just a bit. Clean that up. It happens. It's a danger. Have you heard? Yeah, so yeah, I've heard the news that there's been some like other officials from other countries just kind of up and quitting very suddenly, but no one's really talking about it. Kind of interesting. Yeah, all the media has been focused on how great it is that Doom Lord Trump is going to be finally out of office. Alright, I need to heal up here. Oh, I didn't buy heals. Ooh. I'm probably going to have to go back and buy heals to do this. I should have thought about this. We're going to heal up here and we'll have to... let's go out and use a tent. We can actually use a cabin. And then we need to go buy heals because there's no way we're getting through. This is actually 2 dungeons in a row. And I don't think we're going to get through it if we don't have full heals. We got to get 99 heals. My great-grandmother, who died in 2016, and my grandmother, who died in 2017, helped Biden get elected. What about Elder Scrolls 6 if it comes out? Are you anticipating it? Yes, I will. Of course I will play Elder Scrolls 6. Love my Elder Scrolls games. To find that town. There it is. Corneria. We'll save here and we will... buy 99 things. Well, you know, guys know how it was in EE behind the curtain. The party always got more than 100% votes. Yeah. I wonder why that's a trend some games are chasing. That's kind of odd. Wouldn't you want your character to be attractive? Yes, that's the conventional wisdom, but again, people are not driven by profit. Profit motive is insufficient to explain what people do. Rather, people do things for a variety of nonsense reasons, or they do things for ideological reasons, thinking that they are good to do because they're good to do, and that's as much as they think about it. Imagine having such low self-esteem that you're intimidated by fictional characters who are good-looking. Or they don't want to push unrealistic beauty standards to make people feel inferior or inadequate. That's the logic they use. I've heard that as well. I've also heard they don't want trans people to feel like they are not included by not having people that don't pass. Like, if that makes any sense. It's like, we have to have people who don't pass. It's like, but, you know, the fantasy that they want to involve themselves in is probably passing as the gender that they want to be, right? So why not give them that? It's kind of funny, you know, I could imagine at some point it's like, no, we're not going to let people make their own characters because then they'll make attractive ones that are unrealistic to roleplay as. They're going to make really hot girls with big boobs. Or if they're playing Cyberpunk 27 Fudenaris, you know, they're going to make really hot Fudenaris. We can't have that. The Elder Scrolls 6 is kind of Bethesda's last chance to me. Thought I might be the minority. I kind of didn't really like some of the changes in Skyrim. That's a very good looking game environmentally. I think it's a good game in general. I think the systems are a downgrade from the earlier Elder Scrolls games for sure, but I think it's still a good game. I still enjoy it. Yeah, Hollywood continually chooses dogma over dollars. I like that saying. That's a really good one. Genki Machina. That's a really, like, yeah, dogma over dollars. You know, the profit motive is insufficient. But there's still profit motive in there. They still do a bunch of things based on, like, risk assessment and money. One of the things they do is, you know, why are they always making remakes and stuff? It's because they're very risk averse, and so a remake is less risky than an original property. Let's see how many I have. Almost there. We'll just buy 5 more. Why not? They did the same shit in the last Mortal Kombat. All the dudes were yoked and shirtless, and the female characters showed no skin and were all flat-chested. Do you think the new atheism stuff of the 2010s led to this political predicament? No. I think it goes way further back than that. I think it's the atheism stuff of, like, 1910 that inevitably leads to this. It's just like you have to reach a certain critical mass. And the thing is, you know, people have made this statement before. True atheist is very rare. You know, I forgot to get the cube anyway. There's a cube that we have to get out of a waterfall. So I really shouldn't have gone to the castle anyway. I'm just remembering there's a cube. The best outfit in Cyberpunk 2077 is Johnny's outfit, but you can only get it like 5 minutes before the last mission. Alright, it's over here. Where am I going? These are the dragon caves. I think it's this waterfall here. So you have to go into it with the boat. Should have done this earlier, but I didn't. So now we're doing it. Anyone get a little nervous when they see that Chinese corp started movies? I don't really get nervous about it. Yeah, I never played Fallout 4. I have it, but I never played it because it had a dialogue wheel. I saw the dialogue wheel in a Fallout game. I'm like, nah, not buying it. Not for $60. I bought it for like $5 when it was on sale. But then I never played it because I'm like, I don't really feel like playing it. It just doesn't look like a very fun game. You know, I'm not a huge Fallout fan as it is. So, you know, I liked Fallout 3. I liked New Vegas. I liked the original ones back in the day. But I didn't really like Fallout 3 or New Vegas so much that I really care about the modern version of the franchise. If that makes any sense. Katabe! I saw the dialogue wheel, and like I feel like a dialogue wheel is kind of a red flag in an RPG. It means that they don't really respect you as a player to be thinking that they are making it. Maybe they're making it accessible for like highly autistic people that can't judge the way a normal person might respond to a line of dialogue. But it's one of the things I liked about Dragon Age Origins. There was no dialogue wheel. You had dialogue choices, and just like in classic, you know, BioWare games. And you had to really think about what those were going to do rather than, you know, seeing some sort of heart. Oh, I click the heart and he says something that will improve my romance with this character. It's like that in no way is like a role-playing thing. That's not the way anything works in real life. So let me meet this girl and I'll press the heart button and I'll sure say something that she'll like. Or the character says something stupid and you're like, that's not a heart. That's something stupid. Did you play Gothic 1 and 2? I played Gothic 2. I have Gothic somewhere. I liked them at the time. I don't know how they aged, to be honest. Same thing with Gothic 3. I'm not sure how it would age. Dialogue wheel and added adding voice acting were some of the biggest mistakes Fallout 4 made. Arcanum. I don't think I played Arcanum. There's a Super Nintendo JRPG called Arcana that's actually pretty good, that I really enjoyed playing back in the day. Oh, these are the people who got turned into bats. The Light Warriors got turned into bats or something. Wizard mummies. Let's get them some flames. Most of the choices ended up not mattering anyway. That's why you should make stats tied to cybernetics only. Make all clothes cosmetics only. Not sure where I'm going in here. I think in this game there's no hidden walls. I'm not sure which game they start adding the hidden walls, like the walls you can pass through. I don't know if it's in this game or not. We should actually turn this up so we can hear the music a little bit. I don't mind clunky battle controls. The gameplay in Arcanum is unfortunately atrocious. Dialogue wheels are how developers hide the fact that there aren't any actual choices. Just yes, yes, sarcastic yes, and no, but I'll do it later. Also, no thoughts about how you can use writing in a way that will improve the player experience. Like, the whole point of dialogue choices and character choices is really to make the player get really engaged with those characters. And just, you know, Dragon Age Origins has gameplay that's like, you know, the strategic battle gameplay, but there's also basically a mini game of managing the relationship with your party, and that's pretty cool. We should have more of that. Should buy some magic for knights. I think I can look up what magic they can use. So they'll tell you what magic you can use. Knight. Knight can use all the low level black magic spells, so that might be helpful. I'll go buy some like level 4 spells for Bert and Bob, and that'll help. Fallout 4's writing was ass. Having one MC voice actor didn't help. Yeah, that's really why you want a silent protagonist in some games. Now, oddly, I don't think you need it in Dragon Quest, but you have it in Dragon Quest, I guess. I don't know why they have it in Dragon Quest 11, but they have it. Let's just attack him. Oh, well, that just killed him. Mud Golem. Oh, which way am I going here? Try going this way. There's a cube in here somewhere. I think there's a robot in here that gives you the cube. Or some kind of character does. Nothing here. Kiki. These guys must have been the failed Warriors of Light, or all the bats. It'd be funny if every time you got a game over, it added bats to the game. And there was like a cave full of bats that were the bats that you failed. Like every bat was like your party dying. When your party died, they became a bat. I'd rather have an interesting scripted conversation than fishing for exposition dialogue wheels. The other thing about fishing for exposition is that kind of, you should only put exposition in dialogue that is optional. And that's something that Dragon Age Origins actually did really well, is if you really wanted to, like, you could have Leliana tell you bedtime stories, and that was cool, but it was completely optional. Same thing with the massive like lore library that you'd click on something and you'd get like a little entry in your journal, and you could read those things. All of that stuff was optional, and so if it's not optional, then you actually have a problem with knowing what your gameplay is actually supposed to be. Dragon Age Origins' varied dialogue options made my character far more developed, and he felt far more real than a voiced personality type. Yeah. I think it's because Mass Effect was fairly successful, and they chose to go with, like, Shepard is Shepard. You can make kind of a renegade Shepard or like a Paragon Shepard, but Shepard is Shepard. Oh, whoa. Look at all these guys. Here we go. Should really hit the birds first, because they turn things to stone like that. See? Maybe an indie developer that keeps it more like the original. Yeah. I don't know why the golem's on his knees. Poor Odin, he got turned to stone. This game's very unforgiving about certain things. I'll talk about this when I do the whole review. But, like, it's very unforgiving when it comes to death and things like that. So it, like, oops, compared to a modern game, it's way less forgiving. They don't put as many ways for you to recover from ailments, and they hit you with them all the time. Wizard Staff? I wonder what the Wizard Staff does. Let's find out. So you have to kind of look this stuff up or kind of figure it out by... Oh, that one casts Confuse. That's a cool one to have. Oh, can't hold anymore. That's going to be an armor item, huh? Have to drop something. Should have sold that. Another ribbon. Bunch of gold. Bunch of gold. Take this cube. Get that you can transfer to the floating castle. Good to know. More unicorns. Activision doesn't do anything with Guitar Hero either. With the political things that the U.S. has, how are you still remaining calm? I know a lot of people who are black-pilled, for lack of a better term. Cynical. You found defense. Item. Armor. Weapon. What does this do? I'm gonna have to look it up. It's a defense sword. A miscellaneous defense. Casts ruse when used. It has 30 damage compared to, like, yeah, it actually does better. So we'll use it. 5k, okay. Now it's time to use some magic. Can we use it? Wizard staff. Let's fight the cockatrice so we don't get turned to stone. Mage and Zeus. There we go. Some of the only movie games I really liked were those Lord of the Rings hack and slashes. So those were kind of cool. I remember playing those. I mean, it's been so long though, I bet they don't really hold up. Well, that seemed to work. All right. Almost it's time to go to bed here. We got everything we needed to do the Mirage Castle and Floating Castle. Oh wait, oh yeah, I have this. Magic. Let's get the heck out of here. Did I get it? Maybe I didn't buy it. Maybe Odin has it? No, I don't think I bought it. Did I not buy it? I didn't think maybe I didn't buy it. I have return magic. You gotta get return magic. Ah. I guess I didn't buy it. Oh well. One thing though, they really do give you like a lot of good equipment as this game gets more progressed, which makes it a lot easier to meet the challenges. So the game does get easier in a lot of ways as you go, because but it's mostly because like they just give you no help early in the game. The game starts off really easy, but then there's a really steep difficulty jump, like kind of midway through the game. And you have to go to the fire cave, and you just are not going to be high enough level to kill things in the fire cave and the volcano. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, what stops me from being blackpilled is I know that the people that you know, it's easy to get blackpilled when it's like stole the election, yada yada yada. But I also know that those people live so far divorced from reality that eventually it's just they won't be able to avoid it. All right, have a good one, Eric. Bam. Get out of here, wizard mummy. Die. He's asleep. He's cheering even though he's asleep. That's funny. Okay. Use that heal staff. they're dead. We can get back to our ship. We can get back to a town and... Actually, I think we can stop at this town on the way and save. Maybe even buy some good stuff, but I think we need to go to Elfland to buy the magic that we want for the last levels. We're getting stronger. Yeah, we can just come out right here and save. This will work. Just fine. Ooh, a manticore. Who's dead? We'll buy a house. We'll buy some heals. I think we'll have enough heals. Buy some white magic. I don't know if we can buy. Let's see what we got here. A rub and heal 3. I already got those. Saber and blind. Those aren't really good. $300 gold. That's fine. I got like so much gold now. I think in this next castle you get the adamant, which you can take to the dwarf and he'll make you the Excalibur. Alright. Okay guys, I am probably going to call it there for the night. I'm tired, I need to go to sleep. It's been good chatting with you. And hope you guys have a good night. If this broadcast is missing later on, you know why. Because none of my predictions came to pass. No, it's because YouTube would suppress it. So there you go. All right, guys, I do appreciate it, and I will see you all next time. Have a good one. And maybe we'll do this next castle tomorrow, and then we'll do maybe the last level the day after that. Have a good one.